Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Don't you absolutely hate it when you build a bobsled coaster and it crashes because the train takes a hill at too high a speed? If there are any guests in the train, they will all perish, which creates a lot of annoying paperwork and also potential lawsuits. You just don't want to deal with that. If you want to make sure that this never happens again, then this is the right video for you, as today we're going to take a closer look at what causes the derailing of the trains and how to prevent it. There are two different kinds of derailing. The most well-known one is trains flying off the track when they go too fast over a hill, and the other one is trains taking a turn too fast. We'll start by taking a look at the first and most common kind of derailing. Before we talk about how this happens, let's see which ride types lack the upstop wheels to keep them on the track and prevent a derailing. They are the Haunted Mansion ride and ghost train, the side friction coaster, the reverser coaster, the bobsled coaster and flying turns, and the dinghy slide. For the majority of these rides there are only two track pieces where they can derail, the level to gentle slope piece and the reverse one, the gentle slope to level piece. Because Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 is always a bit more complicated than you would think, the speed it takes to derail at these two elements is slightly different. For the gentle to level piece the limit is about 50 km per hour or 31 miles per hour, and for the level to gentle piece the limit is slightly higher at about 62 km per hour or 38 miles per hour. If you have a train consisting of multiple cars, for example on the bobsled coaster, you only need to worry about the speed that the first car takes the hill at. As you can see here, the other cars can take the hill at a very high speed without any issues. The dinghy slide is a bit more complicated than the others, as it also has access to steep hills, which are even more dangerous. For steep to gentle pieces the limit is about 27 km per hour or 16 miles per hour, and for gentle to steep pieces the limit is about 45 km per hour or 27 miles per hour. In open RCT2 the side friction coaster also has access to steep slopes, for which the same limits apply. Because the limit for a steep to gentle piece is so low, the track piece is essentially useless. If you have a hill like this, you either crash because you go over the hill too fast, or you just don't have enough speed to make it up the hill. Even if you put a chain lift piece on the gentle to level piece, it won't work as the train simply won't reach it. It is impossible to include a hill like this on the dinghy slide and side friction coaster. Or is it? It is truly impossible for the side friction coaster as far as I know, but the dinghy slide has one more trick under its sleeve: the tunnel piece. When building a dinghy slide you can choose to transform any non-station or chain lift piece from a half pipe into a tunnel. Including tunnel pieces in your dinghy slide probably has a small effect on the excitement rating, but it also has another much more impactful effect. Dinghy boats cannot fly off the tracks while they are in a tunnel. Here we have a dinghy slide with a fast chain lift accelerating it to 100 km per hour. When it reaches the hill it predictably crashes. If we change that track piece into a tunnel, it doesn't crash. This is very useful if you accidentally build a derailing dinghy slide. Just replace the open track piece with a tunnel piece and you will be absolutely fine. I do have some questions about guests hitting their heads on the ceiling of the tunnel, but it's probably best to not think about it too much. That is everything about the first kind of derailing. Now onto the second kind, the derailing in turns. Despite quite a few people believing that rides like the bobsled coaster can do this, actually the only ride that can derail in turns is the Haunted Mansion ride or ghost train. The maximum speed that you can take a tiny turn at is 24 km per hour or 15 miles per hour, and the maximum speed for a small turn is 30 km per hour or 18 miles per hour. Especially for the small turn, this limit might be lower than you expected, so you gotta be careful, especially since this ride can also derail on hills. The advantage of this is that you can never build a ghost train or haunted mansion ride with excessive lateral Gs, as it crashes well before that threshold. Now that we know why and how coasters derail, let me give you a tip on how to avoid this happening to trains with guests in them. First off, don't be afraid to have a ride crash in test mode. It absolutely has no effect on the ride or your park rating. Secondly, when you're testing your ride, make sure that you're at least 5 km per hour below the derailing limit, preferably a bit more. Guests make a train heavier, which causes it to lose less speed over the course of the ride. This makes a full train go faster than the empty test train, especially later on in the ride. By having a bit of a speed buffer in the dangerous elements, you prevent a ride from crashing with guests on it while it was doing fine in test mode. And that is all I have to say about derailing trains. I hope you found this information interesting and maybe learned something useful as well. If you did, consider giving this video a like or leaving a comment. You can also subscribe or follow me on Twitch. Thank you all for watching and I will see you in the next video.